Hello everybody, welcome to P2, P3 application of psychological approaches. So I'm going to go through this PowerPoint and try and explain to you the importance of applying the approaches. So we've described the approaches in P1, now we're applying the approaches to practice. So one is to apply it to a social care practice. You choose 3 approaches, and the next 3, a different 3, you apply to a childcare setting. But for today, we're going to do a social care setting. So we'll choose 3 approaches. Now, your approaches don't have to be the approaches I'm telling you. You can research on how to apply 3 different ones. So let's look at best practice in creating a PowerPoint. In a PowerPoint, you only write bullet points. There's no sentences, no full stops, no capital letters. It's just snappy bullet points. Use images. Don't use font any smaller than 16. You need to make sure it's very visible. Remember to do your notes section. So under your slides, you just click and put your notes. And these need to be quite substantial for a level 3 A-level presentation. Each approach should be a minimum of 2 slides. And remember, it's the application of the approach, not a description, as you've already done this in P1. So let's begin. P2. So throughout health and social care, many professionals use psychological approaches to help service users overcome issues such as challenging behaviour. So we're focusing on, for this task, challenging behaviour. So that could be anorexia, depression, ADHD, any of these behaviours that challenges. Different psychologists may use very different approaches to treat challenging behaviour. So for this one, I've looked at the biological approach in healthcare. This approach considers that all our actions are inherited from our parents. For example, it suggests that mental illness is an abnormality due to faulty genetics. Treatment for this approach is heavily based upon the use of medication and treatments such as ECT, and that's shock treatment. It's now done away with and rarely used. A GP could use this approach to help people treat a patient who suffers maybe from chronic depression. The GP would prescribe medications such as Prozac. By treating them using medication, it can be easily controlled, which will help the patient with their depression. Another approach is the humanistic approach. A psychologist might use this approach where there's non-pharmaceutical interventions. For example, the patient or the client or the service user doesn't want medical treatment, such as medication. This approach would be helpful to teach service users new techniques and coping strategies, such as self-soothing and self-regulation. So just about self, it teaches the service user to control their own behaviour without the need for medication, and they will learn to act differently in certain situations. The humanistic approach treats people with challenging behaviour with unconditional positive regard. And if you think back to your P1, that was Carl Rogers and Abraham Maslow's approach. It's based on person-centered care, so it places the individual in the middle of the care and builds the care around them. It helps professionals who use this approach are congruent. This is mean they have the highest standard of integrity and honesty, and they promote the holistic needs of the individual. So all their needs are met through person-centered care. Now, the cognitive perspective. This treats people, for example, who have an eating disorder. They may benefit from cognitive therapy as they learn to look at their body in a new light by seeing and processing their image in a different way. They can then readjust their relationship, for example, with food. It means that the underlying issue is treated and they can try and learn to live a healthier lifestyle and overcome their challenging behaviour. Often with this approach, cognitive behaviour therapy is used. So cognitive means thinking, and we learn to think in a different way. Again, this approach is based upon how we process information. It's the individual's mental processing skills. This approach helps people find out what the underlying problem is. It's applied by supporting the individual to change the way they think. It's useful for people who suffer with eating disorders, phobias, etc. And then we're going to pop in a wee conclusion. And here we'll put in any references that you've looked at in your notes section. Just sum up your presentation and any other comments. Just to say, folks, I'm here to support you in any way I can and whatever it takes. I'm hoping this webcast is useful, and I'll post a discussion section where you can put any comments. Thank you.